Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. What up, ladies and gentlemen? I got a fun and exciting show for you guys today. My guest today, I met at Dr. Rob Garcia's networking event. So we were out there hanging out, meeting a bunch of cool people. Joe comes up to me and he shares a story with me about a guy in a hole. And as he's telling me the story to explain what it is he does, literally, I got chills. So I'm not even going to do any kind of massive intro for Joe. I want Joe to come in and tell me a story just like he did that day so you guys can understand what it is Joe does. You're not going to want to miss this episode. Joe, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me, Hernan. So once upon a time, a man walked onto a construction site, and there were three men working. He asked the first man, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm laying bricks." Second man, he asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm building a wall." They were both kind of moaning. He asked the third guy, "What are you doing?" And he stood up and he smiled and he looked to the skies and he said, "I'm building a cathedral." And if you're tired of laying bricks in your business and building walls and you're ready to build a business cathedral, I'm a badass business coach and I can help you get there. However, everybody wants the big cathedral. Everybody wants the $1 million business. Everybody wants to thrive and prosper. But if you build your business on hustle alone, it will crumble. If you want to build a tall building, you got to build a strong foundation on solid principles. And that's why I created my program called Employee Escape Plan, is to help people start a business from scratch so that they can build a business and a cathedral that endures so they never have to go back to a soul-sucking job.
Now, we got a lot of stigma, though. I mean, there's a lot of people out there saying, look, all you got to do is grind. It's not about the passion, or it is about the passion. It's all about, personal development. How fast can you get to your 10,000 hours? There's all these cliche type things. Everybody, you're right. Everybody's looking for that easy button. So what's the path that we should be going on? I mean, as a human, like, what type of stuff do you come across where you're like, look, this is how we think, this is how we act. Let's get to where we need to go by taking our basic steps.
Well, let's tell another story because, you can build a business on hustle. Let me tell the story of two entrepreneurs. Once upon a time, there was a village that needed water, and there were two entrepreneurs. And the first entrepreneur said they need water, so he was going to hustle. So he got two barrels and a pole. And he went down and walked, a half mile to the lake, and he scooped up the barrel and the water, and he walked, and he was hustling. He got back to the village, and the people bought the water because they wanted water, they needed water, and they were willing to pay for it because otherwise they would have to do that manual labor themselves. They would have to do that hustle themselves. But on the other side of the village was a different entrepreneur, and he saw all this and said, the people need water. But the way they're doing it, it's just going to burn us out. It's going to tear us up. It's going to spit us out. We're going to end up dying with very large chiropractic bills. So what he did is he got together an architect and an engineer and a contractor, and they worked really hard. They hustled building a pipeline, and they did not make money right away. It took them 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year to build that pipeline. But once they did, they finished their work, and all they had to do was open the valve. And if the village needed a lot of water or a little water, they were completely scalable, and they were never tired. As a matter of fact, there's a fancy word called indefatigable. They were never fatigued.
Dude, and I bet that water was cleaner, and I bet that water cost them less. They were probably able to charge a lot less. They could go on vacation, and the water still came.
Yeah. And so what's happening is a lot of people are building a business on the hustle, and they're not building the system. So the question is, are you hustling, you carrying the water? Are you putting systems in place so that you never have to be burned out and fatigued? And unfortunately, there's actually 9 parts of being in business. One's mindset, and you could even group hustle in that. But, you need to have good marketing. If you have the best mindset in the world and the best hustle in the world, but you don't have good marketing, you're going to choke. If you don't have the right business model, if you don't have the right distribution channels, if you don't have the right relationships, if you don't have cash, if you don't have the ability to accumulate cash, there's like 9 major drivers in a business. Mindset is just one of them. And if you build your business on mindset alone and you neglect the other 8 pieces, you're going to forever struggle. And that's sad, because it doesn't have to be that way.
Absolutely. So, before we get into some more technicalities of building a business, tell me a little bit about Joe. How does Joe have the merit to come in and be a business coach? What's your background? Where'd you come from?
Well, my background is electrical engineering, come from a middle-class family, took a bunch of college classes, just maybe 3 or 4 classes short of my bachelor's degree. I never got that in electrical engineering, but I always played with electronics, and I ended up going down a computer and a software path, and I made $1 million in my first, well, I had several little businesses, but I made $1 million, and it was very happy. But then I lost everything. I made some mistakes, and technology changes really quick. So what's hot today is like obsolete tomorrow. And I really got caught viciously in one of those cycles, and I lost everything and then some. So, but what I did get at that point was, I got depression. I literally had to go and see mental health help. But what I did get was a mentor. And, I got the blessing to work with Jay Abraham for 7 years, and I got to learn like everything about marketing. I actually, one of my assignments for him was helping compile a marketing encyclopedia. I transcribed 30 years of think tanks. And so, in 1999, I started looking. At first, I was learning all this marketing stuff for my own healing, because I never wanted to make that mistake again. I really went on an obsessive compulsive quest for the truth. I had that burning desire to know the truth, because one of the things I came to learn was that almost everything we've learned about business is a big fat lie. Like this idea of you just got to hustle. It's just bullshit. There's more to the puzzle than that. So, so at first I was doing it for my own healing, and then I went to a trade show with all these big companies, and I was using Jay Abraham's checklist of the 10 biggest marketing mistakes almost every business makes. And I went by hundreds of booths, and every single one of them was making at least one or more of those marketing mistakes. And I'm like, oh my God, these people need my help. I have knowledge that they don't have. And I wanted to help everybody, but I soon realized everybody is not, ready and willing and able to receive my help. Especially, when I started my business in 1999, my net worth was minus $250,000. And I didn't file bankruptcy. I actually worked really hard and paid everybody back to the best I could, and negotiated a bunch of stuff and all that. But that was my starting point. Was, so what if there's a great quote in one of Napoleon Hill's books. He says, "You failed. Congratulations. You are now an expert at what not to do." And I leveraged my expertise at what not to do, and I started helping people. And at first I was very low paid. It was very difficult to get clients, and especially like, what's your credibility? But what I did is I started helping people and getting testimonials. Joe came in, he changed our business. We now have great things happening. And I started getting video testimonials from people as proof that I could improve somebody else's business. And here I am, I started in 1999, and here we are in 2020. So it's like 21 years later, I am still, I've been helping entrepreneurs reinvent themselves since 1999. That was a lot. I'll pass it back to you.
No, I mean, but that's exactly, we talk a lot about, especially today, having that 19-year-old life coach that, is going to help you, the guru that's going to know everything to help you get out of stuff. And it's difficult to go in and say, okay, here, let me give out a fresh new credit card to this 21-year-old guru that's going to give me the magic pill that's going to bring all the leads I need to make myself, the next millionaire. And to you said something about, it's not all about hustle and grind. And yet there is that aspect of business that does require you to lay the brick, right? I mean, there's still part of that in the business.
Well, there is, but I think a lot of it has to do with the frame. I don't go to work. I have fun serving my clients, making money. I'm a massive contribution to changing improving the circumstances of my clients, and I have a blast with it. So, if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. So, by the way, here's a great distinction. Would you rather have somebody that was hustling for your success or devoted?
devoted, 100%.
Yeah, and so when you're coming from I need to make the money and you're just working hard for the sake of working hard, we call it hustle. But when you're doing it from the heart, when it's a spiritual calling, when it comes from the core of who you are, and you recognize I am devoted to helping improve people's lives, energetically it just feels completely different. It
It
feels a lot
does.
better.
It does. And yet there's so many people stuck in that 9 to 5, right? And there's so many people who maybe have this concept or this idea for a side hustle, but let's be honest, when you look at it, it's more like a hobby. How do you help people get from, having this hobby that could potentially be a business to become an actual business where they might have that opportunity to escape from their 9 to 5?
Well, first of all, you got to want it. If you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to get it. So just because it's a side hustle doesn't mean you can't take it seriously, doesn't mean you can't have fun with it, doesn't mean you can't grow it. There's different scales. So you could be a full-time job and just that's it. I'm never going to go start my own business. Or you could have a hobby business, or you could have a side hustle. You could have a part-time business, or you could go the other side. I have a business that it's kind of up and down. I'm making it, but I have a part-time gig to support it until it gets really off the ground. So the first thing is you got to have the hunger. The second thing is you need to really figure out what this thing is. The intention of the work I do with my clients is not to create a side hustle that is just still more hard work. You're doing it for the money, not because you enjoy it. The intention is 3 parts. Do what you love. Share the love so you can receive the love. Do what you love for yourself and your clients. If you love what you're doing and you love doing it for your clients, that's a good sign, And then you want to share the love through your service and through your marketing, okay, and getting the word out. You want to share like what your passion is, and then you want to receive the love from clients that are grateful and appreciate you. And you also receive the love, the self-love of the fulfillment that I made a promise, I kept the promise, I delivered, I improved somebody's life, and I feel really good and yummy about that. So do what you love, share the love, receive the love. You need to intentionally, you don't want to go from a job that you don't love to a business that you don't love. You get an opportunity to have a blank slate and design your dream business. See, here's the problem is most people are not in careers by design. They're in careers by default. They never sat down and said, what is my dream business? We didn't get that from our college counselors or our high school counselors. If there would have been, how to be an entrepreneur and start a business successfully in high school, I would have taken all the classes. They didn't teach it effectively. And since nobody's really teaching it effectively, I had to invent it.
I love that. Do what you love, share the love, receive the love. Sounds very positive. Joe, sometimes it's hard to stay positive when I'm dealing with objections and people say no. It kind of gets it gets tough after a while. You put out a video the other day in Success Engineer Group, which I watched and then I saved and then I watched and then I've been using myself. I understand that you might not have the money for this right now. And I'm not saying you could go back and find a way, but if you did, right?
What would it be like?
What would it be like? And I wanted to kind of pick your ear a little bit about that because I've been using that and not so much in the sales sense. I've been waiting for that opportunity to come up again here soon, but I'm going through a section. I teach high school, right? So I'm going through this section on credit cards and loans. And so when I'm describing some of these things to my students, I'm describing not so much what the interest rate is or what a balloon payment is. I'm describing it in the sense of how is the sales rep going to sell you on something that you may not necessarily want. And so I've used that exact line that you've taught me to kind of show them, like, you may not need this particular product, but this is an approach that's going to come your way to try to put you in a mindset to help you understand this so that you can see, what trouble you might be walking into and kind of see past the persuasion here. But it's both a positive and a negative tool depending on how you use it.
Yeah, the thing is I look at it as sales is not a numbers game. If you treat people like a number, you deserve all the sales you don't get. I believe, if you can help somebody, then you have a moral obligation to help them. And the truth is if you can't help somebody and you try to manipulate them into buying, you're going at it wrong. There's no need to sell to people that don't need what you got. Now, one of the challenges we have is, biologically, we have needs. So I need food. I need oxygen. I need fluids. I need water. I need touch. I need sex. I need love. I need affection. I need a massage. These are biological needs. Now, I'm a business coach. Now, nobody wakes up and says, I have a biological urge to hire a business coach. It doesn't work that way. And so we got to realize that, I know that I do massively improve the conditions of my clients, but they don't know that. And so, I'm very innovative with what I do, but, if you're listening to this, you might want to write this down. Innovation creates new ignorance. Okay, I'm doing something very innovative that can change your life, but you don't understand what it is. So the cure for ignorance is education. So a very large part of the selling or the persuasion process is to educate people, not only teaching them what I got, but teaching them, not just teaching, but teaching to want, teaching to desire, teaching to help them understand and appreciate the value, the improvement, the benefit, the boost that they'll get by working with me or purchasing what I'm offering. And so that's an important piece to the puzzle. Is number one, you shouldn't be selling to somebody that doesn't need what you've got. But if they do need what you got, so sales is not a numbers game; it's a mastery game. So what's that look like? I want you to imagine that you've got a pharmaceutical company and you've got the cure for a deadly disease. Now, we talked to thousands of people and we found 10 people with that disease. And now we're trying to sell them on buying and taking the medication, because if they don't take our medication, they're going to die. And if they do take our medication, they're going to live. So knowing that if sales was a number game and I was happy selling 9 out of 10, one person would die on my watch. And so if I have 10 people that are qualified, 10 out of 10 should buy. That's mastery, because if I don't sell all 10 of them, somebody's going to die. So I have a moral obligation. If I can help somebody and I don't help somebody, I'm actually doing them a moral disservice. So I have an obligation to make sure they own my product so they can live instead of die. Is that a better frame?
That is a better frame, because and that's really what it comes down to, is understanding that person has a need, that you are there to fill the need. Because I think part of the problem is on the sales rep side, you feel maybe inadequate. Maybe you have some self-limiting beliefs that maybe you're not good enough, or maybe I've seen often, and I've done it myself, where I'm in a presentation and I'm talking and I see the opportunity and I'm presenting what I got. And then somehow, some way, I talk myself out of a sale. Where you start, something in your subconscious, this is a good option, but maybe you can go this route, and you walk yourself out of the opportunity rather than going full force in. What is it about that? What is it about a professional that gets stuck not making sales, even though they have a good product, even though they have, a good value proposition, even though there's a lot of things, there's something missing in this mastery that you're talking about that can take them to the next level?
There's a lot of pieces to that. Let me try and, we can have, it's like numbers in a lock. Say it takes 6 numbers to open a lock. If you've got 5 numbers, the lock, you don't have that 6th number, the lock won't open. So, you do need to have all the elements. Tom Hopkins was one of my early sales trainers. I've learned actually like 19 different selling systems. Okay. So Tom Hopkins, sales mastery course, would be one of those 19 systems that I've learned. But Tom said that, one of the hardest things to teach somebody in a sales training setting is the mood of the sale. the presence, the connection you have with the potential buyer. If you have deep empathy and you really connect, it's almost like having that Vulcan mind melt. So one of the things is you need to really be calibrated and connected to that person, so that, there's a saying, no trust equals no sale. 9 times out of 10, the reason that somebody doesn't buy from us is we triggered something that said, I don't quite trust this person. Right. And so that's a real big piece of it, is no trust equals no sale. And so we need to make sure that we do those things that create and build trust, and then build upon those, and then not do stupid stuff. Like you said, I thought I had the sale, but then I did something and it just triggered something in the buyer where they don't trust you, and you lose the sale. And it could be very unconscious. It could just be the way you winked your eyes, or you could have not felt really comfortable in your own skin, and it telegraphed.
Last time I spoke to you, we went into some mindset stuff. We started talking a little bit about some Les Brown and it got me thinking of things in the NLP nature, in the neuro-linguistic programming sense. And so I went out and I opened up my audiobook, Audible, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn a little bit more about this stuff, because that's what I do. And I pulled it up, and it's got things like dark psychology and understanding the dark side of human nature. Why does it have such a negative connotation when everywhere else that I've heard about it has so many positive things to go with it? What is it about this area that we're talking about, this mindset, this persuasion thing, that has such a negative connotation but can help so many people in a positive way?
Well, the truth is a lot of us have been sold something that didn't keep the promise. All of us have bought something that they made a promise and it didn't deliver. And so the crimes of the father or the crimes of the son, like if you get perceived as a salesperson, it's like you really are coming across as somebody that's trying to get the money from me, versus, I don't want you to think of me as a salesperson. I want you to think of me as a trusted advisor. I'm going to advise you on how to create a business and create a business that works. And I don't want to manipulate you. I could. I have like massive, great skills, but I just think it makes me more critical and precise with my languaging. But at the end of the day, if I can't help you, I don't want your money. Okay, it's really got to, look, I am here to genuinely help you. I am not, I want to be more the consigliere instead of the salesperson. I want to be the trusted advisor. And I want to be the person that I'm a fit finder. I'm looking for the truth of a good fit. Like, if this is a good fit and it can help you, then of course you're going to do it. And if it's not a good fit, if that's the truth, then I just won because I got the truth. So, if we come in and we've got like this desire to get the sale, even if we don't verbalize it, we get this thing called commission breath. And you start to think, this guy isn't trying to help me. He's just trying to earn a commission. And it's kind of repulsive. And so we need, Jay Abraham teaches a pretty extensive philosophy called the strategy of preeminence. And part of the strategy preeminence is really being that trusted advisor. I care about you. I will never steer you wrong. When you come to me, I'm here to truly help you. I would never, ever let you make a bad decision. I'm not going to sell you more than you need. I'm not going to sell you less than you need. I'm going to sell you exactly what you need, and so if we truly come across as the trusted advisor, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody and they told me, like, you're trying to sell me. I'm like, look, dude, put your credit cards away. I'm trying to help you right now. Like, this is not about selling right now. And I just gave value. Okay. But it doesn't take much for that defensive mechanism. You ever see the movie Avatar?
Yes.
Remember the guy's going through the forest and there's those big red flowers and he touches it and just shrinks up?
Yep.
That's exactly what happens in sales. As long as people trust you, they'll be blossoming and they'll be open to you. But the moment that you touch them in the wrong way, they shrink up and they go into their little pod and they disappear. And so that's actually a pretty, that cartoon, that dynamic of that scene is actually pretty accurate of what happens is when you have trust, people are open. The moment that anything triggers distrust, they shut down. Their heart closes, their mind closes, their gut closes.
One of the things that I really liked about you is your ability to do exactly what you just did there. Give a good analogy or tell a good story. And you always take somebody's words and you change them a little bit so they have a positive perspective. It's like you almost listen to them in their literal sense, the words they use, and kind of dig a little deeper, and you find a way to uh, verbalize or share a story that points to more of the feeling that they want, that they're trying to express, versus the words that they use. Like, how important is it to use story? How important is it to have that proper vocabulary to help, to help communicate a message that you want to communicate?
Couple things there. There's a direct correlation between low vocabulary and incarceration rates. The more extensive your vocabulary, the higher your survivability in the world, the more distinctions you have, and you will survive. So, that's definitely a piece of it. Storytelling, nobody wants to hear an advertisement like buy my stuff. One of my buddies wrote a book called Jim Ackerman, How to Market Your Crap When the Economy's in the Toilet. So look, nobody wants to hear an advertisement, but everybody likes a good once upon a time. And the moment I say once upon a time, a man
Here's
was
perk up.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like an advertisement. There's a lesson. And, I collect these stories because different stories have a different purpose or different message, a lot of people are struggling in business. Let me tell you a story, okay? Once upon a time, a man was walking down the street next to the devil, and they both witnessed a man picking up the truth. And the man said to the devil, that man just picked up the truth. You saw him. Well, why don't you stop him? He picked up the truth. Why don't you stop him? And the devil laughed. He goes, no, I'm going to let him pick up the truth. I'm just going to help him rearrange it.
Ooh.
And I think this is one of the reasons people struggle in business is they have the truth, but it's rearranged. If you say the dog bit the man, the exact same words are the man bit the dog, but it's two completely different meanings because the sequence. And what happens a lot of time in business is people are doing their business out of sequence. And no wonder they struggle. They say, I need a website. Well, have you chosen your business? Have you branded it? What are the emotions? What's the problem and solution that you offer? What's your offer? What's your storytelling? Because if you go to a website, if you go to a web designer and say, choose my business for me, choose my branding for me, choose my offer for me, choose my storytelling, because I haven't come up with those things yet, he'll charge you for a website, and it's just not going to work very good because all your pieces are not in alignment.
That's so true. I recently read and reread Russell Brunson's book, The Expert Secrets. And in that, he talks a lot about story and like the hero's two journeys, the external story that we tell ourselves, like, I want to lose weight, and your internal story, the reason why, you dig a little deeper. Well, why is it you want to lose weight? Is it because of love? Is it because, survival? What is the inner story that's there? He talks a lot about the same type of thing. Every single time you see an advertisement on Facebook or whatever, there's always a hook, offer, and a story, hook, offer, story every single time, or hook, story, offer, because it's the way our mind will process it. Something's going to grab our attention. We tell you a story so that you feel the same emotions that we felt, so you come across the same epiphany that we came across, and it becomes your idea essentially. And then here's the offer that we have. And when he structures those things, he always starts at the end and works backwards. And I thought that was unique.
Yeah, and one of my favorite kind of stories to tell is like a real success story from one of my clients. So once upon a time, a guy named Fred Garnica hired me. He was a security guard at the LA Convention Center, and he had one client. He was guarding a yard of electrical equipment, and that one client was paying him $3,000 a month. He had himself and his one employee guarded that yard. And he came to me, he hired me. He said, Joe, I want more customers. I said, okay, good. In other words, you want to grow your business? He says, yeah. He goes, and I go, and you want more customers? He said, yeah. I said, well, there's 3 ways to grow a business. There's more customers, or you can get bigger transactions or more frequency of transactions from your existing customers. And I go, are you sure that you want more customers? And I'm like, he's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, like, listen to me. Like, you're doing this out of sequence. Customers that have never done business with you, you still haven't, they don't know you, like you, trust you yet. You haven't developed the trust, but you have one client that likes your work. Can you do me, can you just humor me and go to your one client and ask them one simple question? Do you have more work for me? So he went back and said, do you have more work for me? And they gave him 7 more yards at $3,000 a yard each. And his income went from $3,000 a month to $24,000 by he was asking the wrong question. When we shifted the question, he got a much more profound result a lot quicker. So that's another kind of story, is telling a real success of a real client that had, amazing results in a very short amount of time. And the kind of results he got was life-changing.
When we first started the podcast, we used to say this line by Albert Einstein all the time. It's problems cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them. And your story kind of really exemplified that. It's like, he's stuck in this perpetual trap of, I got this one gig and I want to get bigger. I want to get bigger. I want to get bigger. But you come in, see the same problem that he sees from an outside perspective, and you're able to just kind of, say, hey man, like, yeah, the concept is you want to grow. Let me show you the different ways in which you can grow.
Well, let's look for the low-hanging fruit. Let's look at how we can get, wins fast. Let's not take the slow path. Let's take the fast path. A lot of people have this idea called marketing myopia. They're so close to the tree, they don't see the forest. And so, this is another one of the lies we hear about in business. You need to focus, focus, focus. There is a certain amount of truth to that, but, if you're so focused on the wrong tree, so what, another skill to have is perfective. So we need to be able to zoom in and zoom out. So when we zoom in, we want to zoom out, like there's 1,000 opportunities. Oh, it's that one up there. That's okay. Now I'm going to focus. I'm going to work on that problem. I'm going to solve that problem. I'm going to turn that into some kind of success. And when I'm through, I'm going to defocus. I'm going to then zoom out, look at the perspective. And now the new opportunity is up over here. And this ability to not just focus, but to defocus, to not just be zoomed in, but to zoom out and gain perspective. This is a problem, is too many people are focused on the wrong things. And I even made a video about this, that if you solve the wrong problem, the original problem remains. You're so focused on solving the wrong problem that, some people are really good at fixing the wrong problems. And no wonder they're struggling to get to the next level, is because they're so, they're focused on the wrong stuff, and they need to zoom out and see, what's the root cause of this problem. And then they can focus on fixing that.
Joe, there are a lot of people who are focusing on the wrong problem, myself included. I'm sure I focus on the wrong problems from time to time. And when you're talking about zooming in and zooming out, that can be a problem, because sometimes I zoom in and I'm zooming in the wrong spot. You ever zoom in and you're like, what the hell? That's not even what I was supposed to be looking at. How do people get a hold of you if they want to help focus in on the right problem to get solved?
Okay, well, the easiest way to get a hold of me is go to employeeescapeplan.com. That's my website for startups. EMPLOYEESCAPEPLAN.com. At the very top of the page is my phone number, and also at the top of the page is a scheduling link. And that's the best way to get onto my calendar. And I always, I could say I give away a free hour consultation, but let me make an offer to your viewers and listeners that I would like to buy them an hour of my time. Let me buy you an hour of my time. If you want to talk, go to my website, schedule it. The first hour is on me.
See, I love that. It's the same words in a different meaning, but
totally,
it's valuing what you do. Like what you just said there basically says, I value what I do, and I want to show you the value that I can bring you.
Yeah. I'm really good. I fix problems fast. So one of my big challenges is if I fix all your problems before you pay me, you'll never pay me. So I've had to learn how to like temper myself. And
Joe, man, always a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you at another networking event, shake your hand, hang out, hear some more stories. I mean, like I said, man, you got so much positivity and just the perspective that you bring to a lot of stuff that people talk about in the conversations that people have. It's enlightening. It really is. It's a light in a room, in a dark room where you might walk into a room of pessimists and this optimist walks in and it's infectious, my friend. Like, you know, you walk in, you start, well, let me elaborate on that. And all of a sudden I can't be mad anymore at my problem. I can't gripe anymore because all I can see now is solutions that Joe keeps bringing to these damn problems I have. So now you're putting work in me.
you know, I've actually helped over 2,000 people grow existing businesses. I mean, I've helped, you know, contractors, electricians, plumbers, heating and air conditioning people. I've coached pawn shops, engineering companies, you know, people that have created light and sound machines, you know, people that have done, you know, pet grooming, pet walking. I've literally helped over 2,000 people grow existing businesses, and I've helped, you know, over 200 people start businesses from scratch. And so, you know, my niche is really, you know, I think the best way to explain it is, you know, every day in America, millions of people are driving reluctantly to a job they don't want to go to. And they're like praying, dear Jesus, dear God, you know, send me a mentor to show me a way out of this sewer. Send me a mentor that can hold my hand and connect the dots and help me start making my own money so I can be self-reliant instead of employer-reliant. And I'm the answer to that prayer. It's really a calling for me. This is spiritual work. Self-reliance is a high spiritual quality. And when we're, you know, employer reliant or government reliant or charity or family or handout reliant, you know, spiritually, it's not as empowering as if we actually can go into the marketplace and manifest those things that we need, whether it's housing, you know, food, shelter, clothing, you know, we need to be better manifestors without going through the intermediary of an employer.
I got one more question that popped into my head here at the end. I'm getting ready to put a team together for what I'm doing with helping people build their podcast, their own podcasts. I've never built a team before like this, in a space of, you know, just people who are good at social media, people who are good at video, people who are good at audio, that sort of stuff. I have an insurance agency and I have hired and I've, you know, I have employees that I put in place and systems. What should I be looking for when I'm looking for a team member, a partner versus an employee? Employee, I think I got down. Partner, a little bit different.
Well, the hardest ship to steer is a partnership, but you know, if you're gonna, you know, you got to be careful in choosing your team. You know, there's a lesson in the scriptures, you know, that it's not directly said, but every Jesus is guaranteed at least one Judas. Okay. So you got to be very careful. So, you know, there's three parts of recruiting. There's gain, train, and retain. So you got to recruit properly and size people up before you even bring them in. And then once they come in, you got to provide them the training and the systems they need to guarantee their success. And then once you get good people that you've recruited and trained, you want to keep them around because life happens and you can lose them if you don't, you know, create some kind of loyalty. So gain, train, retain is definitely a big part of that. And, you know, when you hire people, you want to size up for weakness, physical weakness. I learned this from a billionaire, okay, a guy that was very, very wealthy. And he told me, you know, you want to size up somebody for weakness. So say you're at a cocktail party and somebody, you know, says, hey, I'd like to be on your team, you know, and they've got a lot of qualifications, but say they're 400 pounds. Like, are you going to put your multi-million-dollar project in a guy that doesn't take care of his health? And like, he's going to be calling in sick because his physical body is going to fall apart. You want to look at emotional strength. You want to look at like expertise strength. You know, they may seem to have all the answers now, but when the pressure cooker is on, will they rise to the occasion or will they shrink? You know, so you want to like look at people, because if I'm going to put you on a $10 million project, you know, here's one of the things I've learned about billionaires is they have this little mantra they say to themselves: I will never fail again, because we've all failed. But billionaires are saying, I am going to stack the odds of success in my favor, because business isn't risky if you know what you're doing. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. And so a billionaire goes in, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly the kind of quality of people I want to bring into this. And we're going to do this in such a way that it's going to succeed. And I'm going to have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D contingency plan, because failure is not acceptable. I mean, you want to fail your way to the top. I learned all that stuff too. But when you're putting millions of dollars on the line, you want to make sure you got your ducks in a row and that everything's in alignment. Because, a lot of people say, well, I learned through my failure. You know, the class yell for the School of Hard Knocks is, ouch! I've been there. I made $1 million. I lost everything. I was minus 250,000. And it's like, part of my whole quest for the truth was I never, ever wanted to go back to that place of failure again. And so, and I'm sure you don't either. So when you're bringing in your team, size up for strengths and weaknesses, make sure that you don't have weak members, gain, train, retain. And is that helpful?
That's definitely helpful. Kind of reminds me of, I think I heard it was Dave Ramsey said, when you're bringing on somebody, take them out to dinner, sit down, have a conversation with them, you and your spouse, them and their spouse, and kind of gauge overall, more than just the skill set. Is this somebody that you want to be in business with?
Yeah. Do you like them? Like, ultimately, if you're going to spend, long weeks and hours working with somebody, you want to be around somebody that's a pleasure, not somebody that's a sourpuss.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of pleasures, Joe, it was a pleasure spending this last, I don't even know, half hour, 45 minutes, whatever with you. I really appreciate you taking the time out of the day. And again, for coming on at 2:00, letting me go to my daughter's soccer game today. So thank you very much. One more time, what's the name of your website that people can go find you?
Yeah, it's employeeescapeplan.com, EMPLOYEEESCAPEPLAN.com.
Perfect. Joe, thanks again, man.
God bless you. Have a miraculous day and enjoy that soccer game.
Will do. See you guys. Peace. And we're out.